Angela, seizing the opportunity, declared herself my younger sister, presenting her impressive academic record and postgraduate entrance exam results. Director Shaw, though outwardly polite, felt a nagging unease after their departure. He called me, ostensibly to confirm the operation details, but then casually inquired if I had a younger sister named Angela who was applying to his program. What will my response to Director Shaw's question be? Will she reveal Angela's deception? What favor did I grant Director Shaw, and how does it connect to his interest in Angela? Director Shaw hesitated, then continued, his voice slightly hesitant. There's also something else I wanted to ask. Do you happen to have a younger sister named Angela? She mentioned she's applying to be my student. I paused, a flicker of surprise and annoyance crossing my face. He waited, his breath held for my reaction. Then with a spark of anger and resentment for Angela, I replied, I don't know who that is. Director Shaw blinked, taken aback by my blunt denial. It occurred to him with a jolt of realization that even though we'd spoken downstairs, Angela wouldn't choose to apply as a student under him if I were available. The shrewd Director Shaw, piecing together these observations, breathed a sigh of relief. His quick thinking, his decision to clarify the situation, had averted a potential diplomatic disaster. I just finished carefully packaging the hair strands with one of my own hair samples. The DNA test was paramount. I dialed Lily, my trusted assistant, and gave her clear instructions. I'm sending you a package. I need you to get it to that lab overseas, the one with the impeccable reputation. I need the results as soon as humanly possible. Lily's voice, usually efficient and calm, held a note of puzzlement. Why not use a lab here, Dr. Athena? We have excellent facilities. I raised an eyebrow, though she couldn't see it through the phone. Because it's far too easy for the results to be tampered with, Lily. I can't afford any uncertainties. Lily was silent for a moment. Then she said, her tone a touch exasperated. You know, Dr. Athena, I sometimes think you have a bit of a persecution complex. You've been so secretive for so long, always looking over your shoulder, but I've never actually seen any danger materialize. I chuckled, a low, amused sound. Maybe you're right, Lily. Maybe I am being overly cautious, but I can't afford to take any risks, not anymore. My mother, Yvette, had drilled the importance of discretion into me from a young age. Avoid drawing attention to yourself, Nora. It could invite danger. I still didn't know the precise nature of that danger, its source or its target. But I was no longer the same carefree woman I once was. I had 2 children to protect now. A little extra caution won't hurt, I thought, pushing aside a flicker of unease. After sending off the package, my phone rang again. It was Justin. His voice was tight, and there was a hint of urgency. Nora, he said, I need a favor. I'm tied up here and Chester is unavailable. Could you possibly pick up Pete from school today? I hesitated. I had a lot on my plate, but there was a pleading note in Justin's tone that I couldn't ignore. What's going on, Justin? I don't want to go into details over the phone, he said. But I don't trust anyone else to pick him up. Not today. His words sent a shiver of unease down my spine. The undercurrent of danger, the constant threat. It was always there. All right, Justin, I said finally. I'll pick him up. I drove at a leisurely pace towards the kindergarten to pick up Pete from school. At the same time, a surly-looking Pete stood at the kindergarten entrance with his school bag. After his repeated protests, his father had finally allowed him to wear the trousers version of the school uniform today. Even though the dress code was supposed to be the same for everyone, the girls wore trousers without any issue. While he waited, boredom gnawing at his patience, I finally arrived. He climbed into the back seat, fastening his seatbelt with a dramatic sigh. Can I quit school, Mommy? He asked, his voice filled with world weariness. I turned the car around, a hint of amusement tugging at my lips. Why on earth would you want to do that, Pete? Through the rearview mirror, I could see my son's small face screwed up in an expression of utter exasperation. The kids there are so childish. I raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Oh, what happened? Pete launched into a detailed and surprisingly cynical account of his day. The teacher told us the story about the tortoise and the hare. Then they asked us whether we wanted to be a tortoise or a hare. I chuckled softly. And your issue with that is... Pete sighed again, even more dramatically. Why would anyone want to be a hare instead of, a human? It's ridiculous. I remained silent, enjoying his little rant. Also, he continued, his voice picking up speed, Brandon drank from a girl's yogurt, and then she drank from it after him. She got all scared and said her mom and dad told her she could get pregnant from kissing a boy. Then she asked what she should do if that happened. My amusement grew. This was rich. Okay, go on, I encouraged him. Pete's expression turned even more incredulous. Brandon told her not to worry. He said she could just have the baby, and then the three of them could all go to kindergarten together. I struggled to suppress my laughter. Pete's voice dripped with disdain. Sharing a drink doesn't make anyone pregnant. You have to, you know, they're so childish. I bit back a smile, my amusement growing. I dropped Pete at Chester's and then headed home to my daughter with thoughts about Angela and my father still reeling in my mind. Angela had booked only one room for their trip. Despite the bed being large enough to accommodate both of them, she'd claimed she wasn't used to sleeping next to anyone and forced Lisa to sleep on the uncomfortable sofa. The interview was just a few days away, and she was determined to excel. Catching sight of Lisa's diligent efforts, Angela couldn't resist a mocking laugh. What's the point of working so hard, Lisa? Which professor are you even trying to impress? Lisa ignored her, her focus unwavering. Suddenly, both of their phones beeped in unison, announcing the release of the interview schedule. Angela, her eyes gleaming with anticipation, snatched up her phone and eagerly opened the message. Will Angela be accepted by Director Shaw? Will Lisa get what she deserves? And will I ever be able to forgive Angela and my father for what they did to me?